Welcome everybody back to Friar Talk. Today we're going to be talking about this Padres-Dodgers NLDS series. We're going to kind of give a little preview beforehand, then we'll get into our predictions for the series, and then basically we'll be going over the Padres' best path to pulling off an upset in this series. So let's get it started with the preview. Isaac, you've been doing all the streams. Chase, we haven't got to hear from you for a little bit. So what do you think about heading into this series, and kind of what are you looking at in this Padres-Dodgers matchup?
I'm hoping we win. It's going to be a very tough series. They do have, I believe I'm forgetting the lineup already. I know Urias is starting game one. We have Clev game one, which makes me a little nervous. If you look back at the history of Clevenger versus the Dodgers this year, it hasn't been very bright. I mean, we are really going to need to put up some runs on Urias. My family has some Dodgers fans in it, and I was talking to them earlier. They brought up the stat. I believe Urias has a 1.15 ERA against the Padres this year. If not, it's 1.5. It's ridiculously low. So it's like, okay, we're facing a guy who has pitched us well this entire year, and we have a guy on the mound that's gotten rocked every time he's pitched against the Dodgers. It just doesn't look like a really good matchup for us game one. But really, other than that, I mean, we've been playing the best baseball we have this entire season against the Mets last week. Postseason baseball is way different than regular season baseball. These guys have come to play. They're hungry. They're actually hitting the ball for power. Grish started hitting the ball out of nowhere. I know we did a segment earlier that, hey, who should start in center field, Ozokar or Grish? And I believe me and Matt both said Ozokar. Grish came out and hit 2 home runs within the series. So and there's that. You just don't know who's going to perform, who's going to step up, who's not going to perform. So if Clev, randomly decides to go 6 shutout innings, I'll believe it. It's postseason baseball. There was a stat that came out today. I sent it to the group chat. It was amidst the Musgrove controversy where his spin rate was up and yada yada yada. One of the baseball analytics journalists, he posted that throughout the entire postseason, pitcher spin rate is up 5.5% compared to regular season. Musgrove was at 5.7% for those who don't know. So basically, you can chalk it up to being postseason baseball because every pitcher was like that. Even DeGrom, Lugo, the Mets pitchers got the advantage too. Game 2, we got Darvish versus Kershaw. Fred Kershaw's been balling out as of late, but we got Darvish. That's our man. I expect him to go like seven strong innings and then have the bullpen close it out for a win. Game 3, is a to be decided. So realistically, it's probably going to be Snell, and then I think Tylerson. They might throw Bonson out there, but he might be coming back from injury, or he is coming back from injury. So I don't know what they're really going to do with that. And his last outing before the postseason started was very rocky. So I don't think that. Though realistically, if they throw 3 lefties against us, like they very well might, this lineup built to hit lefties. You got Kim, Myers, Machado, Bell to some extent. Nola's been hitting lefties pretty well. You guys are made to hit lefties. If they throw 3 lefties out, you got to win 3 games in a row.
Oh, yeah. Going back to that Mets series, the Padres were able to play some of their best baseball all year, had amazing at-bats, competitive at-bats, got pitchers deep into the pitch count. It was really good all around for the Padres, but now you're going into this Dodgers series. One of the cons that I had talked about yesterday was a big con is that you had to play a game 3, meaning you had to throw Joe Musgrove. Rather than game 1, you have to throw Joe Musgrove in a game 3 in an elimination game. Not the worst thing. Now you have Mike Clevenger's numbers don't look very good against the Dodgers, but you kind of just have to hope for a vintage Clevenger performance. And isn't it crazy? Baseball, life in general is a weird thing where the last time Clevenger was in the playoffs, it was in game 1 in the NLDS against the Dodgers, in which he had come out in the second inning because he unfortunately needed Tommy John. Now he's back in a game 1 in the NLDS facing the Dodgers. That's weird. That is one of the crazier things I've heard today. But regarding the Padres, I don't know if that puts them at a disadvantage or whatever, but I feel like they're playing some of their best baseball all year. Whereas the past few times the Dodgers have beat us, it's like You didn't really face the lineup of Soto, Bell, Drury, all those guys. And when you did, you were catching us at a time where the lineup was still trying to mesh, and you also caught us at a really bad time. During even our best times, yeah, they were still able to beat us, but there were times where they caught us at our lowest point. So I think now you're catching us at our highest point, and we should be able to at least take it to game 5, I hope. Granted, the Dodgers haven't played a series in like 4 or 5 days, so they're fresh. Their pitching staff is fresh. I don't think Tony Gonsolin will pitch until game 4. I think they will go a full lefty approach, meaning Urias, Kershaw, and Anderson. Urias' stats are very good against the Padres all year. He's dominated us. The one Dodger, or no, I went to a few Dodger-Padre games, but one of the Dodger-Padre games I went to, it was a Urias start, and they put up 6 runs on him, 3 of them in the first, or 4 of them in the first. So I'm hoping for some more of that, rather than the 1.5 ERA that he's had against the Padres, I believe, in his career, Chase said. But I don't know. I feel confident going into the series. I think the keys are going to be, and this is what the Dodgers do very well, and this is what the Padres did very well last series, get those damn pitchers high in their pitch counts. The Padres were able to take Max Scherzer out of the game early. They were able to take Jacob deGrom out in 6, and then they were able to get Chris Bassett out in 3 or 4. That is how you win ball games. That is how you win series, and they did that perfectly. They were able to control the pace at the plate. They were able to get Chris Bassett kind of out of his mojo, where you saw Chris Bassett trying to work fast, get himself into a nice little rhythm, and the Padres were able to disrupt that rhythm by, calling timeouts and taking a lot of pitches, doing everything they could to be able to disrupt that rhythm. And they ended up putting up a lot of runs yesterday. So it was a very good series from the Padres, and I'm expecting more of that. I don't think any approach should change. There shouldn't be a change at all, because you played your best baseball while doing that, and you're playing another 100-win team. Going up against Urias, I hope Machado does his thing against him. We know Machado hits a home run like almost every time against him. Now you're kind of hoping that one of those home runs comes with 2 runners on, 3 runners on, because I think ultimately the long ball is what's going to win you this series. The Dodgers have capable hitters 1 through 9 to be able to put the game away with a 2 or 3 run bomb, guys that get on base, guys that have speed, and the Padres are going to have to compete with that. They're going to have to slug on their own also, So slugging is going to be a big thing. The biggest thing is going to be capitalizing the way you did in this Mets series with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, because you're going to be on the road for the first 2 games. Everybody knows those road environments, especially in New York and LA, are some of the, the loudest, craziest environments you can possibly play in. And the best thing you could do is deliver a gut punch in the first few innings. Runners on, 1 or 2 outs, 2 strikes or something, base hit, RBI. Those are gut punches. Those are the type that to silence the crowd and kind of get you in control of the game. That's what you need this whole series. And that's what they did last series. I'm telling you guys, the recipe that won the Padres the last series will be what wins the Padres this series. Great pitching, timely hitting, and great at-bats.
Yeah, and I totally agree with a lot of stuff you're saying. You brought up, hey, this is, the Dodgers are a good team, but we're pretty confident. And I think that when we're saying we're pretty confident, it's not like, oh, the Padres are going to be a better team. They're a better team. No, the Dodgers are number 1 in the league in OPS and number 1 in the league in ERA. The Dodgers are the best team in the sport. However, like you said, Isaac, when we're getting to a spot where before the Padres and Dodgers have met up, it's been when the Padres are struggling. And even when they had the new lineup after the deadline, they were not meshing. Guys were not hot. And the difference is right now, if you look at the lineup, the bottom of the lineup hasn't produced at all this season until last series when they were 7-20, and then I think they got a couple other hits later on in game 3. So they finished almost hitting like 500 against the bottom of the 7 and 9 spots in the order. That's ridiculous. Grisham hit a home run off DeGrom and Scherzer. We had mentioned the bottom of the order needs to produce. It's a little bit different when you're producing off Scherzer and DeGrom. That's ridiculous. So the Padres are able to hit, these best, the bottom of the order is able to hit against the highest caliber pitching. And right now, if you're looking at this Padres lineup, everyone is playing well. Everyone's hitting the ball well, having good at-bats outside of Jake Cronenworth. That's the only guy. That has struggled. And we also brought up they're probably going to throw 3 lefties. The Padres lineup is built to hit against lefties. Now, yes, you have Soto, who's he's not quite as good against lefties as he is against righties, but there's a lot of guys that numbers are way better against lefties. Myers, Drury, Machado, Kim. Kim is like night and day when it comes to his righty lefty splits, and a lot of these guys are playing really well. So, I Nola too. Nola's another guy. There are a couple lefties in the lineup, but overall the lineup is more built to hit against lefties. So I think that helps a lot. But I don't think any of us are overlooking the Dodgers. I don't think any of us are going, oh, yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I mean, the title of the video is Can the Padres upset the Dodgers? It's very clear that the Dodgers are favored. And you look at the roster, you look at the lineup, you get why. But there's definitely a recipe for the Padres to win. And I think coming off of a game like they did yesterday, we're recording this on Monday, so Sunday's game, where you have your guy and Joe Musgrove come out and absolutely dominate. You have the whole cheating incident accusation type thing go on. And then Musgrove does a Kenny Powers move and then waves him off with his ear. If that's not a way to get pumped up, also you hit 4 home runs off Scherzer, got the other pitcher out in 3-4 innings, and also even scored a couple runs and were threatening against DeGrom. So like, if you're going to come into a series with any momentum, they need to ride it. So I brought up can they pull off the upset? Yeah, like if we're gonna look at this from a who's more likely to win, yeah, the Dodgers are more likely to win. They're the better team. But for the Padres, if you can come out and you can take 1 of 2 in LA, you're going home and you're having Snell and Musgrove, the 2 guys that we have seen just eat up the home crowd, just be great behind that home crowd. So is game 1 a terrible matchup? Yes, 100%. Game 1 is an awful matchup. But game 2 is kind of a wash when you look at it from a pitcher's standpoint. And you got the hot lineup right now. Dodgers lineup's going to produce. We know that. But this lineup, I mean, you got some superstars and you got the guys in the bottom of the order that are really hot right now. So I think it's a little bit more even than people are putting it on. Yes, the Dodgers have absolutely handled the Padres throughout the season. I brought it up before. I'm a Niners fan. The Niners, Jimmy Garoppolo is, and this is a different sport. I get it. Jimmy Garoppolo is 8-0 against the Rams. You know when they lost? In the one game where it really mattered. Like, that's just how sports are. Like, it's, and especially postseason sports, where the team that is really good rarely actually ends up winning the whole thing. And I mean, Dodger fans, it's not to like rub it in or anything, but like anyone that's listening as a Dodgers fan, you guys have felt that. Like not trying to like talk shit, but like you guys have definitely felt that. So I think anything can happen. I'm super pumped. My roommate and best friend is a Dodgers fan, so we're gonna be watching the whole series. We're gonna be super pumped all week. So like it's gonna be a fun time. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to our guys and Darvish, Musgrove, and Snell really pumping, and hopefully we can get a half decent start out of Clev, and I'll be happy with that one too. But I think the recipe is you got to split those first 2 games in LA, and you got to take it in 4 if you're going to win it. That's my honest opinion. And Chase just popped out. I don't know, his camera's tripping out, but that's my honest opinion on it, Isaac. So what are you thinking?
Yeah, man, I completely agree with what you're saying. I mean, this whole series is going to revolve around. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like the Padres this year have played scared against the Dodgers. That's my honest opinion. I don't want to say for sure, but that is my honest opinion. I feel like every time the Padres have played the Dodgers, it's been very timid, very bad at bats. Pitching performances haven't been very well made a lot. Like, I feel like those 19 games against the Dodgers, I saw more defensive mishaps than the rest of the season, because defensive, I don't know what happens, but something happens when the Padres play the Dodgers in the regular season. Now the Padres are coming off a pretty solid September and beating a 100-win team. So now I was going to go ahead and talk about the splits between lefties and righties for the Padres. This year in the regular season, a 245 average with a 705 OPS and 48 home runs and 1,659 at-bats against lefties. That's for the Padres. Against righties, 239 with a 698 OPS with 105 home runs and almost double the at-bats. So the slugging production, very similar, even the averages as well. I mean, it's all very similar, but you're getting a little bit better numbers. That's also not factoring in that Will Myers does hit very well against lefties. And if you ask me, there's a certain that's the guy that should be playing first base. That's the guy that should be playing first base this series. I mean, I'm going to rock with him just because he looked fantastic at first base yesterday. And even all series, He looks so good there. He looks athletic. He's I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what to say. He just looks good there. Obviously, against lefties, his numbers are much better than against righties. And this is kind of his moment. We don't know when his last game will be as a Padre. So I think we should try and let him go out on top. Granted, that means you might have to sit Brandon Drury. You don't really want to sit Brandon Drury. You got to figure something out. And right now, unfortunately, I wouldn't say either is a hot hand at the plate. Defensively, Will has been very great at first base. So that might give Will the edge. And for anyone who doesn't know, Trent Grisham is starting. It's already been confirmed. Even if it's against lefties, Trent Grisham is starting in center field. So that's also very exciting. And hopefully he's able to do what he's done in the postseason rather than what he's done in the regular season. But you look at the matchups, you got Urias against Clevenger. I already talked about that one. Yu Darvish against Clayton Kershaw is going to be probably the matchup of the night around the MLB. You got Yu Darvish, who outside of one bad start or two bad starts in the past 2 years that I can remember, in a Padres jersey has pitched fantastic against the Dodgers. In his career in general, he's pitched really well against the Dodgers. Hopefully we see some more of that. Clayton Kershaw, though, on the other side, has also pitched really, really well against the Padres. I believe it was 2021, beginning of the season, they actually matched up against each other. I believe it ended up being either a 1-0 or a 2-1 ball game. Clayton Kershaw allowed, I think, 0 runs. Darvish allowed 1, and it was off a walk. So,
pretty crazy. Kershaw.
Huh?
He walked Kershaw.
Oh my God, you're right. He did walk Kershaw. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, so he walked Kershaw and brought in a run. So that was a very fun start. Game 3 in San Diego. I'd imagine if you're down 2-0, I would imagine you might throw Blake Snell. Right? I mean, even then, no matter what, you might throw Blake Snell. Coming off a bad start, yes, but career numbers against the Dodgers speak for themselves. He's very good. Even this year had some really solid starts coming off, honestly, the best stretch he's had as a Padre. But this guy just threw 7 innings, 1 hit yesterday in Joe Musgrove, who has an opportunity to make the first start in Petco Park in like 16 years. It's been since they've made the postseason, played a game at Petco Park. So you can either go with the feel-good story, or you can go with the numbers. I feel like Joe Musgrove does good against the Dodgers too. So I feel confident in both. The one you don't really feel confident in, of course, is that Mike Clevenger start. They might sprinkle in a little Sean Manaea. You never know. Even though they probably know it's a bad move, but considering it's a 5-game series, your starters are a little not depleted, but they just had to pitch a full series. Might have to. But the bullpen is very fresh. And if Clevenger can only go 4 tomorrow, we have to preserve the bullpen for the rest of the series. So might not be a good move, but hopefully you can get an inning or 2 out of Manaea. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say, man. It's going to be one of the most exciting series this season. We finally get, I wouldn't say revenge, or a redemption, a chance at redemption, because 2020, we literally didn't have pitching. We had nobody. We knew we were going to get spanked. Now this year, you're coming in. Now you're seeing a team with some very good pitching, a team that's coming in hot at the plate. Recently had a very great approach at the plate. I mean, I really do think the Padres have been playing their best baseball. And if they're going to win this series, they're going to have to play some flawless baseball. Now, I wouldn't say they played flawless baseball against the Mets, but pretty damn close. So they're going to have to step it up a little more to beat the Dodgers.
All right, so we tried to get Chase to talk a little bit here. I think there's a storm right now in Arizona, so as you guys can see on the screen, he's frozen. He can't really speak right now, but so yeah, Chase isn't really with us. He's not gonna be able to share his final pieces. I think you guys heard him lagging a little bit before, but I mean, if we're gonna do predictions, Chase, you got to send. Okay, Chase already disappeared. But Isaac, what are your predictions, I guess, for this series, and like what would you pick?
I mean, it's a Padres channel. I'm not picking the Dodgers. I don't care if I think we might lose. I'm not picking the Dodgers, bro. So I'm going 3-2 Padres, and I'm thinking we lose tomorrow, win the Darvish start, win on Friday, lose the next day. Shit, who would we throw that next game? I don't care who we're throwing that next game.
I think you just throw a bunch of starters. Like you throw Darvish like for a couple innings and kind of.
you got to get to the next round, like no matter what. So yeah, Padres in 5.
All right, I'm gonna go Padres in 4. This is because I'm not gonna pick the Dodgers either. I feel the same way. And I already said, look, if you're looking at numbers and stuff, yeah, you're gonna pick the Dodgers. I get it.
Of course.
But gut feeling, I'm going either Padres in 4. Like I said, you got to split that LA series. I'm gonna say in my opinion, I'm gonna say 55% chance. My 45% chance, and this is what I really don't want to see, is that the Dodgers take the first 2 games and then sweep the Padres, because I don't want to see that happening, but I think there is a decent chance that it goes down. So
100%.
those are my 2 ways the series goes. I don't see it going to 5 games. I don't think I don't know. I think those are the 2 paths that the series can go. And then Chase, even though he can't speak, he said he's going 3-2 Padres, same as Isaac in that one. So I think it's going to do it. Padres fans, Dodgers fans, leave your predictions below. I know that if we all pick the Padres, so if the Dodgers win, we're probably going to get some comments later on in the comments. But hey, that happened with the Mets. That happened with the Mets, right, Isaac?
We'll never pick the Dodgers, man. We definitely had that happen with the Mets. Even if I think, damn, they might kick our ass. I don't care. I got to ride with the Padres, baby. Go Padres.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to y'all very, very soon.